Pope Francis is our Holy Father. He is the leader of the Catholic Church. But how did he get that job? He didn't campaign his way into that position. He wasn't elected the way we elect a president or a prime minister. He didn't participate in a talent competition to win the job. He wasn't even picked by the previous pope. He, like all of the popes of the Catholic Church, became pope through what is called apostolic succession, which is the idea that the church is founded on the apostles that followed Jesus on earth. And when they passed on, they were, one by one, succeeded by other followers of Christ. This means that we can trace the leadership of the Catholic Church from our current pope all the way back to Christ's apostles. In this case, specifically to St. Peter, who was the church's first pope. Let's rewind. When Jesus was on earth, he gave St. Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven. These weren't literal keys that he held, but were the representation of authority over Christ's kingdom on earth. Christ gave St. Peter the authority to lead his people on earth on his behalf, to be the first pope of the Catholic Church. The mission of leading the church, entrusted by the Lord to Peter, was meant to be continued after his death. When St. Peter died, the apostles, under the guidance of the Holy Spirit, carefully chose his successor. The authority of the apostles also passed on when they chose new bishops. Bishops take on the authority and responsibilities of the apostles, including the task of following the guidance of the Holy Spirit in choosing a new pope. Today, this process takes place in Rome. The cardinals of our church, who are high-ranking bishops, meet and, guided by the Holy Spirit, elect a pope. After they have chosen a new pope, the whole world knows because white smoke is released from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. So, St. Peter has an unbroken line of successors who were carefully appointed to continue the mission of Christ to the end of time. The first man to succeed St. Peter was named Linus. After him came a man named Clement, and so the succession continued with 263 more men until the keys to the kingdom, the authority entrusted by Christ to Peter, was handed on to Pope Francis, our Holy Father today. So that's how Pope Francis, and every other pope for that matter, landed his job. The pope receives the authority that Christ first entrusted to Peter and exercises it in faith for the good of the church. All of the popes are the ambassadors for Christ, the servants of Christ, the stewards of the mysteries of God. They have held an office that was entrusted to them by Jesus Christ himself, and they exercise this authority over the church on his behalf.